Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reading Sleepytime Tales. So let's begin. Sleepytime Tales, written by Hayden McAllister. The Flying Mice. Tiny and Tubby wanted to do some hang gliding, but how? Tiny Mouse put his thinking cap on and came up with an idea. Later, Tiny and Tubby Mouse crept through the undergrowth near the big pond. Shh! Cried Tiny. Don't make a sound. I'm not. I never even squeaked, said Tubby. They moved forward, whiskers twitching, and stopped. There it is, said Tiny, pointing. A big sign read, Toodle Pop Pond. Now we want to find the bird. The big white bird was a stroke, and it slept on the bank of the pond. Psst, said Tiny in the stroke's ear. Will you take us hang gliding on the big hill, please? Of course, said the stroke, but how will you hang on once we're in the air? We've brought our safety belts, squeaked Tiny. I'll tie myself to your foot, and Tubby will tie himself to your right foot. Soon they were ready for takeoff. 5 minutes later, they were flying high over the big hill. The end. Next, let's go to the next story now. Balloons! It was an autumn day, and the leaves were turning brown upon the trees. In the park, the kids were playing, and a gentle wind was blowing across the grass, and songbirds were singing. Sarah looked up into the sky and saw a golden ball drifting through the air. Look, she gasped. What is it? It's almost the color of the sunshine. The other children stopped playing and watched as the golden ball floated slowly higher and higher. It's a balloon, said one of the boys. Yes, but where did it come from? Asked his friends. Then Sarah saw a man in a blue cap standing under a tree at the edge of the park. Look, she cried, pointing. There's a man selling balloons. As the children ran toward him, the man called, Balloons, big ones, small ones, choose your own colors. I'd like a purple one, please, said Sarah. Now let's go to the other page. The Rabbit and the Butterfly. Roger the rabbit was snoozing on a mound of earth. Flowers grew nearby, giving off delicious scents. It was nice and warm. Roger could feel his nose twitching, and it made him open an eye. Oh, what's that? He cried, blinking. A butterfly had landed right on the end of Roger's nose. Hello, Flutterby, said Roger. Hello, Rabbit, said the butterfly. But why did you call me a Flutterby? Sorry, Butterfly, said Roger, the rabbit. I didn't mean to be rude, but I see you fluttering by, and you don't look like a fly, and I've never seen you eat butter, so that's why I called you a Flutterby. Lily Lake. Baby Beaver and Betsy Beaver were walking home along the bank of Lily Lake when suddenly the sun came out. Gosh, said Betsy Beaver, that sunshine is so nice and warm, and look, Baby Beaver, see how it makes the water of Lily Lake shine like silver? It's beautiful, chirped Baby Beaver. But why is it called Lily Lake? Because of the water lilies, replied Betsy Beaver. Come along, and I'll show you. Betsy sat Little Beaver on a log and paddled out into the water until they reached the water lilies. Water lilies are really beautiful, chirped Baby Beaver as he swam in the water. I think Lily Lake is my favorite place. The Dragon. Sir Roger lived in a castle near the snowy mountains. It was very lonely there and also very cold. One day, Roger heard that a fierce fire-breathing dragon had moved into a cave in the snowy mountains. So Sir Roger put on his helmet, picked up his sword, and went out to fight the dragon. The fire-breathing dragon, whose name was Dumpty, was eating some grass when Sir Roger found him. When Dumpty the dragon saw Roger with his sword, he burst into tears. "Why does everyone hate dragons?" he cried. "I'm a peaceful and friendly dragon, and I've never hurt anyone in my life." When Sir Roger heard this, he invited the dragon back to his castle. And as Dumpty was a fire-breathing dragon, Sir Roger gave him the job of lightening all the fires in the castle. Sad Susie. Susie was feeling so sad. She woke up feeling sad, and even after breakfast she still felt sad. So Susie combed her fur, tied her best ribbon on her head, and went out into the fresh air. As soon as she saw the pretty flowers, she felt just a little better. "I am not as sad as I was before," she said to herself, "but I'm still not really happy." Just then 2 tiny bluebirds passed by. They saw Susie looking glum, so they flew down beside her. "We'll cheer you up," chirped one of the bluebirds. "We'll sing a ditty for you." "Yes, please, I like that," said Susie, "and I'm sure that will cheer me up." "In a balloon." "Gosh," said Mole, climbing into the balloon basket. "This should be a great adventure. Now, where did I put my parachute?" "You won't need a parachute," sighed Rat. "You won't need those flying goggles either. We're only going up to the treetop high." "But I might fall out," cried Mole. "I might fall out and land on my head." "You won't fall out," said Rat. "My balloon is safe." Suddenly Mole looked down at the ground. "Help!" she cried. We must have be a long way up. Those animals look as small as ants down there." "They are ants. We haven't even taken off yet," said Rat. Sunbird. All the animals who knew Betty Bird loved her. All the flowers and the trees loved her. Even the toadstools loved her. Every morning as the sun rose, Betty Bird would sing her beautiful song. It was so beautiful that the rabbits would run from their tunnels into the open air just to hear Betty sing. Betty loved the sun because it filled her world with light. So she sang, and Betty's songs gave her friends much happiness. A little bear from nearby wood heard all about Betty's song. Each day he would travel over to hear her sing. "Well," he declared, "Betty's song is sweeter than the sweetest honey." One morning, the rabbit were delighted to see the little bear raise his hat to Betty Bird. He brought her a present too, a box of sunflower seeds. The end. That's all for today. That's all for today, guys. That's all for today, guys. I'm going to be reading the rest in my next video, so I'll see you later. Bye. And also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to see my next video. And I'll see you later then. Bye. Hi guys, if you have seen my last video, I've read Sleepytime Tales written by Hayden McAllister. So I'm gonna read until where we left off. Sydney Squirrel was having the time of his life. He was so full of energy, he chose the tallest oak tree to climb. After scampering up the trunk, he leaped from branch to branch, right to the top of the tree. When Cindy saw an acorn right at the end of the branch, he he was sitting on. It was the biggest acorn he ever seen in his life. At that very moment, the acorn dropped. Sydney Squirrel watched it go whizzing down to the ground. Then he scampered down after it. "I've got a nice idea," beamed Sydney. "Picking up the acorn, I'll go over and see Simon Squirrel in the tree top and give this acorn to him." The happy duck. Farmyard Duck was happy. Quack! She was looking forward to a quick paddle in his favorite pond in Duckland, so off she went through the farmyard gates, leaving cows to moo and the king of hens to cock-a-doodle-doo. Farmyard Duck went waddling through the grass where daisies grew like stars, past the big oak tree with springtime leaves. Quack! Farmyard Duck could smell her favorite pond ahead. Only another short waddle and a splash into the pond. What would make her day complete, she thought, as she paddled around, would be if someone brought bread to feed her. 2 slices, please, but no cream crackers. Leapfrog. Wendy and John and the dog Pip were playing with the hoop. As the hoop rolled through the park, Wendy, John, and Pip chased after it. They ran down a path which led through the trees. After a while, they came to a little playground where 4 boys were playing leapfrog. Wendy and John stopped their hoop and watched the boys enjoying themselves. Pip, the dog, watched too, with his head on one side. One boy would bend forward and the other 3 would leap over him like frogs. Then another boy would bend forward and the other 3 would leap forward like frogs. Suddenly Pip the dog ran up to the boys. "Look," said Wendy, "Pip wants to play leapfrog too." "But he won't be able to leap that high," gasped John. "Gruff!" barked Pip as he ran forward. Then he leaped frogged right over clumps of daisies. Now let's go to the next page, guys. Ant's Paradise. "I'll find myself a nice flower," thought Arthur Ant, "and I'll climb to the top and see what's going on up there." So Arthur Ant walked up until he came to the base of a flower. "Here goes," said Arthur as he began to climb the stem of the flower. It was a tall flower, and Arthur needed to rest on a leaf before he reached the top. Up, up, he climbed, higher and higher, until he was above the tallest blade of grass. Finally, Arthur Ant climbed into the heart of a cup-shaped flower, stood gazing at the pool of rain which had collected there. "I've always wanted a paddling pool," laughed Arthur. The little chicks. Harriet Hen was the proudest hen in the farmyard. She was the mother of 3 lovely little chicks. "When they 3 little chicks grow up," she said, "they'll be the top of the class at chicken school. When they grow up to be hens, they'll be good hens just like their mom." Even before they went to school, the 3 little chicks knew that 1 and 1 makes 2, and 1 and 2 makes 3, and not to go with any strange foxes. "I want my 3 little chicks to be fit and strong little chickens," said Harriet Hen. So every morning at sunrise, Harriet Hen took them out jogging. Rob the red squirrel was sitting under a chestnut tree, brushing his tail. The grass was soft, the sun was warm, and there were fruits and nuts in the trees. Rob was very happy squirrel until George the gray squirrel came rushing by. "Oh dear," muttered George the gray squirrel. "If only I could go to the fair." "Why shouldn't you go to the fair?" asked Rob. "Because I can't afford to buy a ticket," sighed George. "Let me think a moment," said Rob the red squirrel, scratching his head at the very moment a chestnut fell off the tree above them. "There's your answer," cried Rob. "You can collect a mixture of nuts, put them in a barrel, and sell them for a penny each. It will help if you like." "Great! Then I'll be able to buy a ticket," cried George with delight. "2 tickets, please, George," laughed Rob, "because I'd like to go to the fair with you." Sammy the Seal. Sammy was a performing seal who worked in a circus. He could jump through a hoop, balance on his nose. One day at lunchtime, when Sammy was playing with his colored ball, his trainer brought him a bucket full of fresh fish. "Thanks," said Sammy Seal. "You're welcome," said his trainer. Sammy looked at the bucket of the fish and thought a moment. Next minute he was balancing the bucket of the fish on his tail and spinning the ball on his nose. Gently, Sammy Seal lowered the bucket and dropped the ball. How do you like to do that as your new circus act?" asked the trainer. "Great," said Sammy, clapping his flippers together. Pip's magic moment. Pip the terrier had been picked to play at All-Stars football team. It was his dream come true. Usually, when Pip the terrier ran onto a football field crowd and laughed, and the referee chased him off the pitch. Of course, dogs don't usually play football, but Pip was a special dog. When the special day came, Pip the terrier ran onto the field and the crowd cheered. As soon as Pip got the ball, he ran fast toward the goal, pushing the ball with his nose. When the goalkeeper came out to stop him, Pip ran between the goalkeeper's legs and scored a great goal. When the game was over, Pip fell asleep in the dressing room and dreamed his magic moment all over again. The magic candlestick. Bertie Bear had been reading all about Aladdin and the magic lamp. All Aladdin had to do was polish his magic lamp, and a genie would appear to carry out his commands. "I wish I had a magic lamp too," said Bertie Bear. Later that day, when Bertie was playing in the garden, he found an old brass candlestick in the shrubbery. I'll borrow some of Mom's brass polish," he said, and polish the candlestick. "You never know. It might be a magic candlestick." As Bertie polished the candlestick, he was thinking to himself, "If a genie would appear, I'd ask for some honey cakes for tea." At that moment, his mom came back from shopping, and seeing Bertie polishing the candlestick, said to herself, "My little Bertie's a good bear. I'll give him some of his favorite honey cakes for tea." I'll give him some of his favorite honey cakes for tea. Billy the Baker. Billy Rabbit was a baker. He made different kinds of cakes. And bread and carried them around in a basket. He'd shout, "Cakes for sale, 5 cents each." One person who'd always bought a cake from Billy Cake was Miss Triple, who lived on top of a very tall house. One day, Miss Hippo wasn't feeling very well, so she couldn't come down to buy her usual cake from Billy the baker. So Miss Hippo asked the songbird to go down and collect her cake from Billy. Billy gave the songbird Miss Hippo's cake and said, "Little songbird, if you come and see me when I've sold all my cakes, you can have all the crumbs you want from the bottom of my basket." The kind robin. It was a very cold winter day, and the wind made all the grass shiver, and a little robin was flying around looking for food to eat when he saw a caterpillar on a branch. The caterpillar looked so cold and so sad that the robin took off his scarf and wrapped it around the caterpillar to keep it warm. "Thank you very much," said the caterpillar. "I've never felt so cold in all my life, but I feel much warmer now." "I'll find you a nice leaf to hide under now," said the robin, "and there you can sleep until summertime comes, when it's warm sunshine." The sound of the music. Once upon a time, Harry Hippo decided he could sing. Of course he couldn't really sing, but no one dared tell him. Harry was so sure he could sing, he called a few of his friends together for the sing-along. Crocodile came. He couldn't sing either. Lion came. He was Hippo's best friend. 2 monkeys and 2 tortoises came, but they turned up by chance. Finally, Crazy Crow with his stripy beak arrived. "Right," said Harry Hippo. "What shall we sing?" "What about the 3 blind mice?" suggested the crocodile. "I don't know that one," called Crazy Crow, "but as it's my birthday, happy birthday to you, sing Hippo." Sang Harry Hippo and his friend. "Oh, what a terrible noise," thought Crazy Crow as he flapped away. "Harry Hippo really ought to take some singing lessons." Big ideas. 2 elephants called Big Bing and Big Ben were bored. "What shall we do?" moaned Big Ben. "I'm getting tired of eating donuts all day long." "Let's try a bit of skateboarding on the local park," suggested Big Ben. "I've tried it. They put up a sign, 'No elephants on skateboards allowed in this park.' I have an idea. Let's take a plane." "I have an idea," said Big Ben. "Let's take a plane to India and see our cousins." "But elephants are banned on aircraft." "Yes, but we can go by the jumbo jet," said Big Ben. "Mr. and Miss Chimp." "Let's do as the humans do," suggested Miss Chimp. "Do you mean sit in front of the television all day?" asked Mr. Chimp. "No," said Miss Chimp. "I mean, let's have a nice cup of tea and some cakes." "Okay," said Mr. Chimp. "I'll try it this once." Mr. Chimp watched as Miss Chimp put on his apron and laid the tea table. He continued to watch as Miss Chimp toasted some muffins. Then Miss Chimp made a pot of tea and gave Mr. Chimp a cup and a saucer to hold on his hands. Put the cup on my head, said Mr. Chimp. "I don't want to be mistaken for one of those humans." The tidy circus. The circus fun was over for another day. All the performers and the animals had gone home to rest. The lights in the big tent had been turned off, and all was silent. Only Popo, the clown, had stayed behind. Popo, the clown, didn't know what to do with himself, so he went for a walk around the circus, whistling a tune as he strolled along. Dumpty Dumpty Dee Dum. The trouble was, Popo kept tripping over tin cans which people had thrown away. "I don't mind tripping over when people are watching me," he said, "because that makes them smile. But I'd rather not trip over when I'm walking by myself." "I know," said Popo. "I'll sweep up all the tin cans and the rubbish and put it all in a stack." Then I won't trip over when I'm strolling along. When Popo had finished, the whole circus was so clean and sparkly that it seemed to be smiling, and Popo smiled too. The end. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and I'll see you later. Bye!